propel our team forward. In my brief conversations with you, Krish is extremely intelligent, sensitive, uh, very important, very well-mannered, fantastic, fantastic partner to have on board with all of us. So, and I say this with a lot of confidence that we've got the right people on this podium. Of course, we're missing Faf and Heinrich, and I've had the opportunity of speaking with them on Zoom calls. Faf has designed jerseys for us, a very stylish, good-looking man designing some good-looking stuff for us. Ryan, Sachin, all of you, thank you so much for being here. But very important, in case, a lot of people look at me just as an actor. My batting coach is here, Lad sir, and he coached me. He's also coached Mr. Rohit Sharma. He enjoyed my cover drive. Yeah. So I really do enjoy sport as a whole. I love football, I love cricket, I love any kind of sport, motorsport as well. And it's an honor to be here amongst all of you. Very important, one thing that I just want to leave you guys with in this conversation was grassroots for any developing nation. And I think grassroots is very important, and that's what we're trying to do with the Netherlands, with Ireland, with Belgium, and all these places. We want to develop grassroots and talent from there, and that's how you make the sport a world sport. And no better person than Jonty and his team to be doing that. I'd love to see more players out of Europe playing in this league. And on the business end of things, this is a great league because viewership timings perfectly suit the Indian subcontinent. So it's fantastic for us. We have a game at 4:30 in the evening, a game at 7:30 in the evening. I believe this is going to be a fantastic league to watch out for. You've got the best names in the world playing in this league. So I'm really excited to be a part of this, and congratulations to Krish, Madhukar, Jonty, to all of you, congratulations. An absolute honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I think we can do a little better with a round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've heard the vision, we've heard the ambition, and we've heard what Rotterdam Dockers want to represent as they step into this new chapter of European cricket. But there's one thing we haven't seen yet, the identity. So before we unveil it here on, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Rotterdam Dockers. AI as the official jersey sponsor, make some noise. This is the Rotterdam Dockers. Thank you. Thank you so much. May I request our guests to please take their seats. As you've just seen, there is a lot that goes into building.
Because of Bollywood and cricket. And I haven't even told this to John, but when I first moved in the 2000s, I probably watched Doom over a dozen times. Over a dozen times. And watching cricket in the early 2000s was just a phenomenal experience for me, and I always wanted to be connected to that. And coming to where we are with Fireflies, we are an AI company. We have roots here in India, in the US, but Europe is rapidly growing for us as a market. So when I first spoke to Madhu, the intention was to come on just as a jersey sponsor. But then he said, you should meet the team, you should meet Jonty, you should meet Faf, and see if you can get involved in another way. And I had the opportunity to be a part of other franchises and other leagues for cricket. And having played cricket growing up, watching it, it was something I've always wanted to be a part of. But I never took that initial move because I didn't have the conviction just yet. But then when I met them and I spoke to Jonty and I spoke to Faf, and the way they thought about it, I saw so many similarities. Because when you start a startup, you are essentially starting from scratch. You get to define the vision. You get to build out the future. And for any startup, the team, the foundation, that's the most important thing. And when I saw names like John and Jonty together and how Madhu worked tirelessly to set this up, I said, you know what? I want to be a part of this. I don't want to just be a sponsor. I would love to be a founding investor. And I'd also love to bring a third angle to entertainment and cricket, which is technology. And as I've spoken to the team, I've learned a lot about how technology is used in cricket. Everything that happens before a game, the way you plan, the way you prepare, how you train your players. And one thing that is very true is in cricket, every ball has a story. There's 240 balls in a T20 match. And unfortunately, there's too much data that's coming out of that. But the nice thing is AI can understand every single one of those balls, every single story, put it together, and ideally help the players and the coaches learn from it, learn from the past, and hopefully improve and know better for the future. The scorecard tells you what happened, and hopefully the technology can tell you, the AI can tell you why that happened. And so for me, bringing that technology angle with AI...
Thank you, Krish. We now open the floor for a quick media Q&A. Really want to thank our friends from the media for making it here this afternoon. The weather has been quite erratic today, but thank you so much for making it here and joining us in this special moment. We'll open the floor now for quick media Q&A. Just a caveat, we'll take questions only limited to the scope of this discussion, which is on the ETPL, European Cricket, the Rotterdam Dockers, and what we have in store for the inaugural edition. So kindly raise your hand. We'll get the cordless mic passed on to you. Introduce yourself, your name and your publication, and your question. All right, I think just get warmed up. Let me just start off the questions with one. John, this is for you. You've seen sport globally. What really particularly interested you to really invest in European cricket and with the Rotterdam Dockers? And what does success really mean to you more than just winning the championship?
For us, I invested in football. And for me, football in this country is like a startup. Football's not going to see a better time than it is now in India, starting with this year, where the teams co-own the entire league. So I'm very bullish on it. And I just applied that to I applied that experience to what's happening with European cricket. And I think the story is the same there. It's at a very nascent stage. It's the right time to get in. I think more than success, I feel it's grassroots. I feel it's building your academies there, building a self-sustainable business stroke revenue model there. So you can get more players out of there and then supply them, also create a supply chain to different leagues. When you have the right partners on board, when you have the right platform in the ETPL on board, it's great breeding ground to do something like this.
Wonderful. Yeah, Amol.
Hi, John. Amol from The Hindu. You just mentioned about creating a supply chain and comparing your involvement in football and ETPL. Yes, there are a lot of parallels, but when it comes to cricket, primarily everyone wants to catch eyeballs, especially from the subcontinent. How do you strike that balance of creating a supply chain, developing a structure through ETPL, and yet manage to attract eyeballs?
So I think I think your question has there are two questions in this basically. Getting the eyeballs is a very media stroke TRP stroke business perspective. We're doing that through the timings when we play this game, especially for the Indian subcontinent, 4:30 and 7:30. So it's prime time for India, especially the 7:30 game. The first part of your question, not the latter, the former part of your question is how do you create a supply chain is through stalwarts, through like Jonty, Faf, etc., who in conjunction with me, and I'm saying this out of experience because I'm doing that in football, we're creating India's biggest football academy in the northeast of India, in Shillong, called the Center of Excellence. If you don't have a sustainable business model and a supply chain where you provide players to all of the clubs, you won't survive. And I think that's exactly what we want to do with this. We want to get those players out from the domestic league, Dutch players, Irish players, Scottish players, from wherever, and then supply them to the biggest leagues in the world. Not only our team, but to the biggest leagues in the world. And I think that should be and that will be our way forward.
Can I just add to that too? I mean, I think specifically for us, the beauty of what we've tried to establish is that we've got a very strong South African connection, obviously a European connection, and a very tight Indian connection. So the tournament itself is 5 weeks, 4.5, 5 weeks. And we understand that you can't just survive in that 5-week window of an entire year. So our plan is, with regards to that pipeline or the supply chain, is ensuring that we can take young players out of Europe, get them into India for camps, high performance camps, bring them through to South Africa for high performance camps. Faf and myself, I mean, I live half the year in India, half the year in South Africa. So ensuring that we're giving these young players not just that 5-week window with some of the best players, some of the best coaches in the world, but then other opportunities to extend their cricket knowledge by playing in countries more consistently. And they have long off seasons, obviously, in Europe. So in that off-season period, bring them to South Africa, bring them into India, where we can grow them, not only their cricket skills, but also mentally make them tougher players too. Because, let's face it, academy cricket, league cricket in South Africa, league cricket and club cricket in India, it's a very tough competition itself.
No specific story. I'm okay with it.
We're just doing it in order. 7, 8. What's your? Oh, 6. Okay.
6, 7, 8.
So wrong way
6,
around.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So there's just no specific story per se.
Yeah, there's a question there. Please go ahead, sir.
Whether the Rotterdam Talkers will be participating for the first time in the Premier League 20? Madhukar.
So, sorry, the question is that Rotterdam Dockers are participating for the first time in the league.
Speak about
The team. So, I mean, right from February, when myself and Jonty got together, the whole idea was to put together a team not only on ground but off the field as well, something which is world class. We want to go there with an A product, and then we when we started discussing, obviously for a team what you need is a good leader, and that's when we had a chat, and I mean Faf du Plessis, who's an exceptional leader across IC crickets and for teams. We kind of then we both had a chat with, and after that, obviously with the modern cricket, we needed someone who can provide entertainment, who is a big name and can help us win the trophy. And that's when kind of Faf spoke to Henrik Klaassen and got him on board. So I mean, in terms of that's how we started our story. And then obviously, as Jonty rightly mentioned, there's a lot of cultural similarities between Netherlands, the Dutch, and the South African country, and in terms of the language, Afrikaans is widely spoken in both the countries. So that's how we kind of started it. And though I mean we have got an African influence team, as Jonty rightly mentioned, we cater to multiple markets, right from India, Africa, Europe, and now US also. So that's how it is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is a question for both John and Jonty. I'm Vishal from Cricinfo. We've seen cricket exist and really thrive for so many decades, both in India, South Africa, everywhere, except perhaps in these parts of Europe where the ETPL is now coming up. So what kind of a future do you see? And also we see T20 leagues coming up almost every year now, taking up some part of the calendar, which is only 12 months. So what kind of a vision do you see for this league? What kind of a market do you see it establishing, whether in Europe or India or across the world?
I think from a perspective of me being involved in India for the last 18 years in franchise cricket, what has been fascinating is that it didn't just mushroom altogether. Kind of the different states were suddenly then picking up their own T20 leagues. And I think that's what we're also looking to see in Europe. I mean, there's 31 or 2 associates of the ICC, 33 associates. And it's not just about these 3 countries, because once it starts there is real cricket affection in Europe itself, which we as people who are familiar with England, India, South Africa, Australia, the bigger country names, you don't appreciate. But I lived in Sweden for 2.5 years, to coach the Swedish national team. And for us, we were looking across at Italy, we were looking across at Germany, because from a Scandinavian perspective, they were the next level up. And then there was Ireland and Scotland. So there's a huge opportunity to grow cricket, not just in Ireland, Netherlands, and Scotland. And having seen it and seen what a platform like this sort of league can do, I am really excited by how we are going to influence the rest of Europe. So yes, our focus is on Rotterdam, the Netherlands, on Ireland and on Scotland. But we know that that knock-on effect quickly impacts the rest of the countries in Europe.
John, I think he's waiting for your comments.
No, I think Jonty's, he gets this far better than I do. But I think the way you see T20 leagues springing up in the country, you have the Assam Premier League, you have so many Premier Leagues all across the country being broadcast on different OTT channels. I think you'll have that ripple effect happening in Europe too, like he said. So I think it's a great time for us. It's the opportune time for us, and we must take advantage of it.
I think just a key thing, though, is that, there have been various tournaments in Europe already that preceded this now, the ETPL. But the key is, though, ours is an ICC-sanctioned event. And that's important because, you can have leagues and events popping up everywhere, but do they have, the backing of cricket boards like we have, of the International Cricket Council? We have that backing, and I think that's the big difference, is that we know that we are in this for the long ride and for the right reason. Sure, it's a business, but to grow the game. And all of the team owners, it's been interesting because there's so many former players that are now co-owners in the various franchises. And we all played in a similar era against each other. And the team owners have actually been working really well together to ensure that we support this league, because we believe in the business side of it, but we also believe in the difference that we can make, not just in the 3 countries, but throughout Europe as a whole.
Before you take the next question, just one question to Krish. Jonty and John have spoken a lot about the philosophy and the vision and the mindset of Dockers. From a commercial AI standpoint, you've spoken about it already, how does Fireflies.ai buy into this philosophy to really strengthen Rotterdam Dockers, strengthen grassroots, and then strengthen the commercial proposition of the brand?
I think right off the bat, in terms of how you can elevate the experience for the players, and you can bring insights to them, and you can help them prepare better for these sort of games. The other thing is you can use technology for fan engagement, especially they're doing so much work at the grassroots level, bringing in talent, training talent, the locals. And honestly, if you can have an incredible experience on site at the stadiums and have great fan engagement using technology, that's also a great way to create that loyalty and stickiness for the team. And the best part is this is just going to get bigger. It's only going to, this is just the starting point. So if you have the best foot forward, you can make a huge impact there. And I think technology, as we've seen when we see broadcasts, when we watch the games, how it can bring interesting insights and graphics and stats and metrics, you can bring all of that as well. But for me personally, I had come in thinking Europe is big for us as Fireflies investing. And this is going to get obviously a lot of eyeballs, but more importantly, it's unique, it's novel, and this is what we really stand for as well at our company.
Perfect. Any more questions?
John and Krish, how do you see the role of AI in cricket and in entertainment?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? AI in...
The role of AI in 20 cricket. And John, how do you see the increasing role of AI in entertainment?
Yeah. So with cricket, I've had a chance to sit with a team analyst, and I've had a chance to look at some of the technology and tools that they use. The amount of research and work that players have to do and coaches have to do, they really have to do their homework. And in fact, sometimes, whether you look at other leagues or even international matches, if you don't do the prep beforehand, the match can be lost. When I was talking to Faf, one of the things he said is he's a very data-oriented captain. Like, there are certain captains who just go by instinct and they operate like computers, but having a data-oriented captain, understanding what sort of decisions you can make on the spot. One of the advantages of AI is you can make these sort of real-time decisions, whereas instead of post-match analysis, you can know, okay, at what point in the game did we lose the match? who should I have put up against this batsman where we would have had a better edge? What sort of lineup should I have picked? So that's how I think like AI can help bring out these insights. And you're going to have already people that are going to be well researched, well prepared. But at the end of the day, you can have all the AI in the world, but it's up to the players to be able to execute on the spot. So it's just going to elevate the game and the level another level.
Well, I met him on set the other day when he was shooting. So he doesn't use AI at all. It's all John Abraham. I was walking through this field, and I was going to disappear down a crack. It was such a hot and dry day and place that I said, "Oh, how do you perform any stunts doing?" You could lose half a leg. So it was not AI, right? It's all John Abraham. No AI involved at all.
Thank you. Jonty's got my back. Thank you. No, I think what Krish said is absolutely correct. I think this AI is here to stay. But I think for us, even because I'm more associated, I've been associated with football for about 13 years now. We depend on our team is a Moneyball team. You know, we depend on stats, and we just go by stats, and we go by numbers, and we see, you know, for example, how many goals this guy has scored, etc. And I think the same applies for cricket. So AI is going to be very useful for us in terms of statistics, who we really need to get on the field. It could be a part of any sport, but it's here to stay. As far as films is concerned, we have a lot of assistance from AI, but thank you, Jonty. Thank you. But we try and do as much as possible outside of it, but it's definitely here to stay. And I have to tell you something, and I'm digressing. I was shooting on the set, and my action team was South African, and they were harnessing me, and we have Mr. Jonty Rhodes in his glasses just roaming around and walking around, and the South African guy just stops and he says, "Is that Jonty Rhodes?" I said, "Yeah, that's Jonty Rhodes." He's saying, "That's Jonty Rhodes." And he asked me, I think 5 times if it was Jonty Rhodes. I said, "Yes, it's Jonty Rhodes. It's not AI. It's Jonty Rhodes there." So the guy he said, "Jonty Rhodes has shaped my life." And that's the reverence that people like Jonty have in this ecosystem. So I just wanted to mention it, that I got some brownie points on my own film thanks to Jonty Rhodes coming on the film. So it was great.